Hello everybody and welcome back to another World Cup predictions video. We are at the quarter-final stage, so you know that business is picking up. And there's been a lot of you commenting on my previous videos telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about. And all I've got to say to that is, yeah, you got a pretty good point. I'll try to do better as we get into this quarter-final stage. It is only for fun after all, and as I told you in the last video, we're all just waiting for England to storm to victory, so don't worry too much about it. But I do put timestamps down below, so if you do just want to jump ahead to one particular game and just see predictions for that one, that's absolutely fine. I don't mind. But if you do want to watch the whole video, then that's pretty cool too. If you can hit the like button, that helps me out a lot. And if you like the content, and think about subscribing, because that helps me out too. But we've got some great games to talk about, and I don't want to waste any more time. Let's jump in by start talking about Croatia versus Brazil. Starting with Croatia, who are tough as nails when it comes to the group stages, as was shown in their penalty shootout win against Japan. It wasn't very inspiring, was it? But they got the job done. But they're going to need to be tough as nails, hard to beat, and more if they're going to come through this test against Brazil. Croatia have been playing a lot of 4-3-3, which kind of is the in fashion tactic this World Cup. I just can't see how they're going to beat Brazil by playing that. I think they need to move more to a 4-2-3-1 to give their defence and backline a bit more cover. You could see Jakic come in and play alongside Brozovic as the two holders, but I think they're more likely to stick with Kovacic in there, but he needs to be thinking defence first in this game. Croatia aren't really a pressing side, so they don't really get out and attack sides when they're out of possession, so they are just going to have to sit deep, get bodies around these Brazil players and swarm them, so you cut to the likes of Neymar, Rafinha and Vinicius Jr. haven't got space and time on the ball. Luckily for Croatia, Lovren, Vardial and goalkeeper Livakovic, who was exceptional in the penalty shootout, have been very good in this tournament so far, and you will expect them to be busy once again in this game. But the change of formation that I'm suggesting would help Croatia with getting Modric further up the pitch. I think he needs to be more influential in that number 10 role. You've got the strikers alongside him, or forward players alongside him, like Petrovic and Perisic, who are both very good in the air and pose Brazil a threat in the air if they can get crosses into the box. So I do see that as a route to goal for them. However, they do just have to weigh up the fact that if Brazil get up ahead of steam in this one, they are going to be virtually impossible to stop at times. So Croatia just have to stick to what they're good at. Controlling the ball, controlling possession, try and keep it for large periods of the game, and just frustrate Brazil and wear them down and get them to make mistakes. But we come to Brazil, the dancing samba, that's my Brazilian dancing samba of Brazil, and that was in full evidence and in full force when they destroyed South Korea in that first half. It was like a blitz on the goal that they just could not cope with, and it was for their point of view and from Brazil's point of view, if it's not broken, don't fix it, that's for sure. And expect me to say a few times of that during this video when I talk about other sides, but they were simply fantastic, and it was almost like the group stages were a warm-up tournament for them, and now it's kind of like the proper tournament begins, and let's show everybody what we can do. I didn't think Neymar would play, but he did play, and he came back and he seemed to take Brazil up to another level. The speed of the passing and the movement was better than pretty much anything we've seen so far in this tournament. However, Brazil have to factor in they haven't really played anyone that great, and Croatia are going to be the toughest test they come up against. They're a far more streetwise team than Korea are, that's for sure. Croatia are going to try and slow this game down. They're going to try and keep Brazil out of possession. They're going to try and get bodies around them when they do have the ball, and also frustrate them so they can't get into the rhythm with a lot of tactical fouls to stop the game and break it up. Along with Neymar, Vinicius Jr. and Rafinha, you also saw Richarlison have another great game up front too, but I really like the look of Lucas Paqueta in the midfield as well. He really impressed me in that win over Korea, the way he got forward and created an extra body in the box to support the attacks. And I think his runs from midfield to get up there and support could be a real difference maker in this one. everything was just on point from Brazil in that game, really, wasn't it? The passing right the way from the back was really, really solid. And when needed, Alisson was in fine form too, with a couple of great saves in there before he was finally beaten by a thunderbolt of a strike. Looking at a prediction, though, you just, as much as Croatia will try and keep the game tight and try and keep it difficult, you just can't help but feel Brazil will be too powerful for the Croatians in this one and prize them out of this tournament. I'm going to go for a Brazil win. I'm going to go for Brazil 3, Croatia 1. And next we come to Netherlands versus Argentina as we continue with Messi's quest for the elusive World Cup. Well, before we get to him, we're going to talk about the Netherlands, and I thought the Netherlands were very impressive against the United States. It is the best we've seen them so far in the tournament. So far, I thought they've been a little bit flat, but a fit and firing Memphis Depay seemed to make a massive difference. The organisation and the discipline is key for the Dutch, and do expect them. They're not going to press Argentina, so do expect them to sit back in their shape and just let Argentina have the ball and hit them on the break. They showed with the first goal they scored against America that they can still play the Dutch way, control the ball, play through the thirds, and score a fantastic team goal. Something like a 21 pass move with virtually everyone involved in it. But hitting Argentina on the break may be the key to victory here, with the intelligence of Klaassen and the speed of Gakpo and Depay as well. Dumfries and Blind seem to add so much to this side from wingbacks. You saw some of the goals literally being wingback to wingback in the win over the USA, and they add such a difference with the way they get wide and the way they add an extra body in the box in attack. Also, I don't see a lot of speed in that Argentina defence, and I think having Gakpo and Depay running at Otamendi and Romero has got to be something that the Dutch look to exploit. But they can't overlook the Messi factor. Yes, the Messi factor. He's well capable of winning any game of football on his own, as we absolutely know. But Holland do have one of the best centre-backs in the world in Virgil van Dijk, and their back three, back five, and goalkeeper have been very good so far this season. Van Dijk is no stranger to Messi as well, played against him before, so he will fancy his chances of being able to stop him or control him. But obviously he's not going to be playing an out-and-out striker. He's going to be playing in midfield more, so they do need to get bodies around him. But it's easier said than done. And that brings me to Argentina and that little guy called Messi. And I don't know if you've been following his career. He's all right. He's quite good. And he's even quite good to the point where he's trying to win Argentina a World Cup single-handedly. This has never really been done before. So maybe it's a little bit harsh on his teammates. But he's trying to do kind of what Maradona did in 1986. And really, without Messi, this Argentina side looks a little bit meh, doesn't it? They struggled to break down Australia, and they really relied on a goalkeeper error, really, to get the second goal, other than a Messi bit of quality like he seems to do. Other than game plan being give ball to Messi and Messi go do things, I do think Argentina is vitally important that they get the first goal in this game. If Holland will sit off them and let them have the ball, which Argentina will be very, very comfortable with, but if Holland get the first goal in this game, they'll just sit even deeper, they'll be even tighter, and it'll be even tougher for Argentina to break them down, and they'll be more susceptible to the counter-attack. If Argentina score the first goal, it means the Dutch have to come out and do something different. They've never been trailing so far in this tournament either, so it'll ask them a different question. Di Maria has to come back into this side if he is fit. He'll provide them with more of a cutting edge. Argentina won't mind this game at all, though. They're used to being patient. They're used to just controlling the game through their midfield, so they won't mind having the lion's share of possession, and they won't mind just waiting for their moment to strike. But they have to always be cautious of the fact that the Dutch might hit them very quickly on the counter-attack. Enzo Fernandez has to really screen that midfield and back four very, very well and be very disciplined in what he does to stop any counter-attacks. But for Argentina, if all else fails and your back's to the wall, just give it to Messi. He'll probably score you a goal. And that brings me to my prediction. And I know that probably the fairy tale is that Messi comes through and Messi is the conquering hero, and the hero's journey will probably have a 3-act tale structure even within this game of its own. What am I talking about? But I can't help but think the Netherlands are going to get the job done here. It is the end of the road for Messi. Orange is the colour, folks. Orange is the new... Well, whatever. Holland will win by 2-1. Morocco versus Portugal is the third game we're going to look at, and we'll start by going to Morocco. What an amazing job Morocco have done getting to the quarterfinals of any World Cup for the first time. It is clear to see that this team is willing and ready to go to war in every single game, and this will not be an easy match for Portugal. Morocco may not be the prettiest side to watch, but there is something very engaging about them. The effort, the energy, the discipline, and not to mention that raucous fan base that they have as well. It's a side that you just can't help but root for. It'll be very much the same plan that they had against Spain, with 4-3-3, but really more 4-1-4-1, or even maybe 4-5-1. So many players behind the ball, but then when they do get a chance to strike, the likes of Hakimi, getting balls into Ziyech, getting balls up front to El Nesri, and trying to get Morocco up the pitch very, very quickly. They did that a few times against Spain, and they were quite successful. Just got to be more clinical with their finishing. As a few times they got in behind there. It was a shame they didn't really create any chances for Boufal or El Nesri. It all kind of fell to the wrong type of player, really, who couldn't finish it off. But I think Portugal will cause the Moroccans a lot more problems. Their speed of play, speed of player, and the way they pass the ball is a lot quicker. You saw centre-back Aguard, sorry, saying it wrong, looked like he came off with an injury in the game, so that's a bit of a blow for them. But they do have cover. They could go to El Yamik, or they could go to Atit Allah as a replacement in there. But they do need to just continue to be a disciplined unit. Kimi and Mazraoui have to be aware of the likes of Fernandes running wide and getting in behind them there. And the midfield, led by Amrabat, have to be careful of João Phoenix, the way he likes to drop deep. It is going to be a backs to the wall job, really, isn't it? But we've seen that Morocco are good enough to do it. Can they do it again? Portugal will be fancying their chances of getting through to the semi-finals. No disrespect to Morocco, but I think it's fair to say that Portugal looked like serious contenders after they made Swiss cheese, see what I've done there, of a very good Swiss side. They beat them 6-1. It's a real statement win, and nobody will be feeling more snug about it than Fernando Santos. This was a huge call, and all the talk before the game was that he dropped Cristiano Ronaldo. But we saw this Portugal side, just like we've seen Man United have this effect as well, that when you took Ronaldo out of it, all of a sudden the team seems to play a lot better. There is no way they will change this side against Morocco. If it's not broke, don't fix it. The Atlas Lions will be a tougher nut to crack than what we saw against Switzerland, and they'll have more bodies in the way trying to stop them. And also, Portugal do need to be wary of how pacey Morocco can be on the counter-attack as well. But in defence, they'll feel that Carvalho and Diaz and Pepe have enough experience and quality to be able to deal with that. But the star man was Goncalo Ramos, wasn't it? He came in and replaced Ronaldo, and boy, didn't he take his chance. He scored a hat-trick, and he proved that he can absolutely lead the line. His hold-up play was on point, and the way he got into the box to try and convert chances was first class. And he looked like a guy that's been playing international football for decades, and not the 21-year-old that he is. And just very quickly on Ronaldo, I think once, and I'm not going to give him much of a hard time, other than the fact to say that he had serious boo-boo face. Really, really bad. Really like a pouting kid. But I think once he saw how good this Portugal side was playing and how devastating they looked, I think he got behind it. And I think he was pleased to be involved with it in the end. And I think that he will feel that he needs to be there to support them now. And he's an important player that they can bring on and call to if they need him from the bench. And he needs to be there to provide that role. It's still a World Cup that he could end up winning, regardless if he is not the front and centre man doing all the work. Don't expect Portugal to go blow Morocco away like they did to Switzerland today. They'll need to be more patient, but if they move the ball in the same manner and with the same speed that they did against Switzerland, I think eventually they will find a way. Also, as well, they will cause Morocco problems from set pieces, which Spain did not do at all. So from a predictions point of view, I am going to say it's the end of the road for Morocco, unfortunately. Great tournament for them, but Portugal make it through to the semi-finals. It is going to be a 2-0 win for the Portuguese. And now it's the one we've all been waiting for, folks, isn't it? It's the final game we're going to talk about is England versus France. This game is so evenly matched. If you took Kylian Mbappe out of the French side, I would say that you would make England favourites. But with Mbappe in there, I think you just have to give the edge to Les Bleus. But this could be the game of the tournament. Let's not forget France are missing quite a few players as well. So the world champs, France, they did play with their food a little bit against Poland, but eventually they came on strong. They will know that England have kept 3 clean sheets in a row, but they will see their backline as a weakness and something that they can exploit. And they will also know that England have not faced an attack anything like what France have to offer. It's a very well-drilled attacking unit. Griezmann and Giroud do a great job of getting the ball initially. Giroud's hold-up play is fantastic. Griezmann at just getting into little pockets of space is really good. And they create space for Dembele and the main man, Mbappe, out wide. So they can then be one-on-one against the fullbacks and they can attack the space, get crosses in the box, or when Mbappe's point of view, get shots on goal. 5 goals for Kylian Mbappe this World Cup, and he looks every bit the golden boy of world football. And once again, just a little bit about England's backline is I don't see France pressing England as much as Senegal did. But France will also know that England could be quite sloppy playing out from the back. So then while they don't need to go out and put a ton of pressure on them, they can just pick their moments. And if they pick off a pass in midfield or just in that final third, they can be in on goal and exploit that with a quite quick attack. And England really won't be able to do much about it. You saw Senegal exploit that a number of times in the first half. But of course, France have to be wary of what England have to offer too. I talked about how England haven't faced an attack like the French. Well, the French haven't faced an attack like the English. Thankfully for France, they do have quite a lot of pace in their back line, but they may be overrun in midfield. With Kane, where he likes to drop deep, you might have like 4 against 2 in there at some points. That might create a bit of an overload that England can exploit. We've seen how Bellingham likes to run through the lines, but also you've got the likes of Bukayo Saka, who can run in behind, and Phil Foden's movement and incisive passing has already been on point in this game as well. And let's not forget Kane, one of the best strikers in the world, even if he does play in midfield half the time. And then we come to England. Is this England's time to win a World Cup? Well, this is the acid test, isn't it? They've been top scorers in the tournament. They've had 8 different goal scorers. But really, for me, when you come up against the top sides, this is where you go from being a good side to being a potentially great side. And so England need to get the job done if they're going to be considered at all as a great side moving forward or potential winners of this World Cup. There's been a lot of talk about whether Southgate will go back to 5 at the back or whether he'll stick to 4 at the back. I think he has to stick with 4-3-3 and play the same 11 that he did against Senegal. Jordan Henderson, and I didn't think I'd be saying this before the tournament, but his experience in midfield could be absolutely crucial in this game and could be a difference maker, really. He has to marshal Bellingham and Rice to make sure that they are very disciplined in what they do and that they're getting out to snuff these French attacks, that they're getting around Griezmann, and when they can, get out and support Kyle Walker and support Luke Shaw, because they will not be able to contain Mbappe and Dembele on their own for 90 or even 120 minutes if it goes to extra time. They need that help from midfield. I really hope England don't just dick about with the ball when they play it out from the back. That led to errors against Senegal, unnecessary errors as well. They shouldn't be too worried about going long. Kane's perfectly good at the air at winning the ball, and you can win the ball, second balls in midfield. But England shouldn't be worried about giving possession back to France. They should be thinking that if France do have possession, England can nick it, they could set up counter-attacks and get beyond them in transition quite quickly. And then it just will cut out unnecessary mistakes at the back. And that indeed is England's greatest strength, really, isn't it? We've seen when they've played a slow possession game, it's been quite ponderous. It's been quite slow, but then all of a sudden when somebody breaks a line, when somebody makes an incisive pass, all of a sudden it's quick, and England look a much better side. And we've seen that really come from Jude Bellingham, where he can run past people through midfield. You've seen that with Saka, and you've seen it with Phil Foden. But the main thing for England in this one that I want to see, and if you lose the game, you lose the game, but I want to see England be brave in this one. I don't want to see what they did against Croatia, and I don't want to see what they did against Italy in the Euro final and World Cup semi-final last time out. And what I mean by that is when you get in a good position in a game, when you're 1-0 up or when you're on top of a side and you've got their foot on their throat, go for the kill. Be ruthless. Stay on top of them. Don't let them back into the game. Don't go into have what we hold mode. You have to keep being brave and keep going forward. We've got so many options. We can change a game from the bench. Sorry, I say we. England can change a game from the bench with the likes of Marcus Rashford, with the likes of Mount, with the likes of even like a Callum Wilson, a lesser spotted James Maddison, a Jack Grealish. It's just a matter of can England get the job done. I think this game is going to be fantastic. I can see the downvote button being smashed here, but I am, of course, going to go for heart over head in this one. And I think this one's going to be a really high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a great game. And as I say, I predict it for game of the tournament. I'm going to go for an England win. England 4, France 2. I feel I need to wash my mouth out now with soap and water after predicting that one. But that is the end of the video, folks. And they are my predictions. I hope that you liked it. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave your comments down below. Always like to read them. And yeah, just the usual stuff. If you liked it, hit like. And if you think about subscribing, please do, because that will help me a lot. I'll be back to talk about the semi-finals where hopefully England will still be in it. But if they are not, you will see me doing a Cristiano Ronaldo style boo-boo face through the whole video. But once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.